You know, it was a couple of weeks ago, Armstrong Sims, Don Truhl, Lawrence Elkins, Don Truhl's wife and I were here in the studio recording that interview that we played full throttle on Monday from Don Truhl and Lawrence Elkins, an hour and 23 minutes of amazing memories. And I remember Lawrence telling me, and Don Truhl knew Dicky Maegle, the former Rice star and who passed away, but Lawrence Elkins mentioned a story or two about Dicky Maegle, and the great Lawrence Elkins joins us live on SicEm365 Radio. Lawrence, obviously, whenever you hear the news of someone you knew, someone who's part of your life, it's always a sad thing. When you think of Dicky Maegle, what do you think of?
Well, it's a sad day for me, but Maegle, he epitomized greatness. So what a great ball player. Yeah, I had stories about him, back when I was probably in high school. I used to hang out at the Tidelands and Tides too all those years, especially after he helped me get a job down in Houston. And we had all these old war stories and had stories about him and old Buddy Dial driving Bobby Lane around the night before they played up with the Steelers. A lot of fun. It's sad to see him go.
You mentioned the job, and I got it. Whether I don't know if I had it twisted around, but I thought maybe he even called you. But you're someone that actually reached out to him. You were looking for an opportunity. Is that correct? Can you take us through that story?
Yes, I would. I headed for Houston in 1970. I got cut by the Steelers and got cut by the Bears, and the Giants wanted me to come try out, and I'd probably about had enough. So I figured I better go try to find me a job because the money was getting short and the bills were getting long. But I came through Houston, talked to Truhl, and he's the one told me. He said, Maegle, he hangs around with all those movers and shakers. Said, maybe you ought to talk to him and see if he knows anybody that might put you on. And talked to Maegle, and he said, I'm having lunch tomorrow with the president of a company here in Houston, and I'll sure mention you to him. And it happened to be a guy at the time named Herbert J. Frensley, who was the chief executive officer for Brown and Root Worldwide. And he talked to this guy, and then on this napkin, he had written to the personnel department at Brown and Root down on Clinton Drive, said, see what you do to find this person a job. And that's all it took. I mean, put me in as a kind of a Class B engineer trainee at $800 a month. So it was better than starving there.
Is that the same company that eventually sent you to the Middle East?
No, they sent me to Europe and Africa.
Okay, yeah. You traveled all over the world, yeah.
I spent about 8 years with them. I probably should have spent all my career at Brown and Root, but I didn't. I was looking for a nice, cushier job, maybe, or ones that paid more money.
What was it like being able to, because not many people will get to have a relationship with someone you grow up watching and idolizing. What was it like to have that relationship for you and Dicky Maegle?
Well, old Meg, he was a lot of fun. We'd go down and have lunch with him, and I'd come through sometime at night and spend the night at the Tidelands or the Tides too, and sometime I paid for it, and sometime it was on the cuff, which is a good deal. But had a lot of fun talking with him, visiting with him, and kicking around the old days. And I tell you what, he could do a Gabby Hayes, a number that was priceless. You would laugh yourself to death listening to him talking about Gabby Hayes, Gabby Hayes talking to Roy Rogers.
Wow. You know, you mentioned the place, the Tides Hotel. What was that like? The personalities and celebrities that hung out there.
Well, I'll tell you, it was a lot of fun. A lot of people knew each other, and they had a lot of people out of downtown that come out there. Of course, you had anybody in the sports program with new old Maegle. He kind of catered to everyone, and it was a fun place to go in the old days.
Lawrence, a lot of people think of Dicky, though. They think of the play against Alabama. It would have been a 95-yard touchdown. He was tackled by Tommy Lewis on the sidelines in a close game in the Cotton Bowl. But he was a better player than just that one play, and that's obviously he's about to go 95. They gave him the touchdown. Did he ever say much about that play to you?
No, not awful much. He just kind of shook his head and laughed, and he said they became good friends after that. And I think he scored about 5 touchdowns that day, including the one that Lewis tackled him off the bench. But Maegle was quick. I mean, those 4 Alabama people, they couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah, he also was the 10th overall pick in the draft by San Francisco in 1955, was a Pro Bowl defensive back, 28 interceptions in 73 games. He played 1 year with the Cowboys in their second year of existence as well. He changed his name, how he spelled his name, to Maegle in 1962. It's actually Moegle. I always was wondering, how did the obituaries get this wrong? But he changed his name, right? Because people, they kept on, pronouncing it wrong or what?
I guess they called him Mogul or something like that. It's like like one of those African princes, maybe. But I changed his name from Mogul to Maegle.
Yeah, he did.
But
no, go ahead.
I was just thinking about that, and it's one thing I didn't know about him. But spent a lot of lunches and afternoons there talking about the old days and old times. And he'd go down to the touchdown club, I guess, on Tuesday. They'd have the Houston Oilers Day, talking over the game of the past Sunday. And he made a point to talk to the coaches if they were there. Saying they had people sitting on the bench that ought to be playing. He got up one time and said, you got a guy sitting on the bench here. All he can do is get up and catch a football. I guess that's not good enough for y'all. He was talking about me.
He had your back in many, many ways. Lawrence, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. He had your back in many ways. It's a friend.
Yeah, he did. We really liked each other, but he'd kind of burn about who's playing for the Oilers there, and we were talking about it later. Trull had a rough time with the Oilers, and I did too. The people that drafted us, they only lasted 1 year, and all those people were gone, and then they brought people in that I guess of course I got hurt, and I couldn't run that well anymore, but that was people that just didn't like us around, which is a true story.
Lawrence,
but, go ahead.
One more thing. We had a chance to sit down with you in the studio a couple of weeks ago with you and Don. Did you ever have a chance to watch the full thing and kind of reminisce as you watched it?
I've watched parts of it. I've got to get together and watch the whole thing now, but I didn't know I was that fat, old, and ugly, but I guess that's the way it goes. When you're going on 78, Lordy mercy. Makes you go out and work out, but I don't want to.
Hey, man, enjoy the day. I know it's been a tough couple of days with Dicky Maegle's news, someone who knew you and helped you, and you knew him well. Thanks for your time reminiscing about Dicky Maegle.
All right, thank you, and all the best, y'all. Be talking to you soon.
Yes, sir. That's Lawrence Elkins, former Baylor great, on Dicky Maegle. Reached out to him when he was giving up football and got a job and ended up traveling to Africa and Europe. That's $800 a month back in the day.
Somebody needs to make a TV series about Lawrence Elkins' life. I mean, because you couldn't do a movie would be too long. It'd be like a 4-hour movie, but I mean, you want to talk about, he's got or maybe it probably already kind of did. It's called Forrest Gump. He's just not, just the way that you go through life and all these adventures and all that.
And in that hour and 23 minutes, Don Trull and Elkins, we talk football, whatever, but it's still Lawrence Elkins' life and journey. Africa, Europe, and then eventually, remember, he was in Saudi Arabia. They basically got a knock on the door. Mr. Elkins, when do you think you might want to leave Saudi Arabia? And he didn't quite understand what he meant, but he made comments about Iraq and America and the bombing. I don't know. I haven't been thinking about it much. How about yesterday? and all the stuff with Robert Duvall and all the people he hung on, Johnny Carson, all of that. It just he's amazing. His story. All right, when we come